Guys, remember that one mechanic? It was kind of like long rest, but shorter. One D&D seems to be slowly reducing the use of short rests. And I believe they're making a big mistake. Especially after this new warlock. Oofda. This looks horrible. Welcome to Pack Tactics. This script is super old, by the way. It was written in December. Anyways, a big place in which we saw the developers move away from having resources be recharged during short rests is Monsters of the Multiverse. This book contained a lot of reworks to older species options, which were released before then. More often than not, a resource that was once per short or long rest in the past became an amount equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. This is not to say that short rests are being removed. I actually doubt it, as it's still a mechanic that appears in some places in the playtest. However, they seem to be moving forward with proficiency bonus per long rest features over anything that recharges on a short rest. And I take issue with this. I've heard complaints about it being lazy design, or it leads to abilities having very limited uses in low-level play, but I actually believe that it fundamentally leads to issues for the system. Let me try to explain. With how things currently work, 5e uses something called the Adventuring Day, and the more they move towards long rest resources, the worse the game gets. Let me give an easy example of this. Lizard the Wizard has 5 fireballs in a day and can use them whenever she wishes. The campaign she's playing in has about 5 combats per day. That means she can use on average 1 fireball every fight. Kobold, what's the big deal? Well, if Lizard was instead playing in a campaign with 1 combat per day, that means she can use 5 fireballs in 1 fight. That is 5 times as much firepower in that 1 fight. As a DM, if I wanted to keep things challenging, I might try to change things so that 1 fight is as tough as 5 would be. But with the way resources work in 5e, that's tough. That means if you want to have a challenging adventuring day, you need to add more encounters, usually a lot more. There is of course the option to not run challenging adventuring days. But if you are exceedingly likely to beat any encounter, why are you spending so much time in initiative to run combats? And also, why are you playing a system where majority of its rules is made up of combats? Let's say we assume games should run challenging adventuring days, and that we need multiple encounters to accomplish this. This makes session prep very difficult. You have to make up a bunch of encounters that need to be included within 1 day, so likely 1 adventuring site. Additionally, you need to make sure that the party doesn't end up long resting in the middle of the adventuring day, because there's not enough adventure left to make the following adventure day challenging. They made their bed so they lie in it! Yeah, you could say that. The players were the ones who decided to rest, but they didn't do that to invalidate the rest of your prep. But before we continue, look, only crits. They've got dice, 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 dice. Guys, stop taking a short rest and buy all the dice. They've got the best dice in all of Faerun. Look at that, it's Bob dice. They're made of metal and they're limited. If you use my special code PACKTACTICS for a 12% discount, not only do you help me, but you also help Bob build worlds. Buildmaster Bob! No, Gator, it's Bob World Builder. Oh! Oops! And if you buy any set of dice from the website, you get an adventure for free with it. And some of them are like a month's worth of content. So I would say this is a good deal. Yeah! Check out onlycrits.com/packtactics. And if you like what you see, get some dice yourself. Use the code PACKTACTICS for 12% discount. Back to the video. Another issue is allowing and letting players solve encounters through other means than combat. This could also very well lead you to being unable to challenge resources enough. Overall, this is another big issue in discussing the game and its balance. One example is, if you play one encounter adventuring days, something like Spiritual Weapon can seem a lot better than when needing to preserve resources. People notice this too. I often see people say casters get worse in long adventuring days compared to martials, because the martials can just keep on going. But this is not entirely correct, and I even made a video about it. So what does One D&D have to do with this, and specifically short rests? For that to make sense, I'll give you a quick history lesson on World of Warcraft. 4th edition. That's right, we're pulling out the Satanic Bible. In 4th edition, characters mainly had 3 different kinds of powers. When I say powers, think of spells or just something like attacks. They have at-will powers. In 5e, you could compare this to cantrips or just weapon attacks. They have encounter powers, powers you had after every short rest. So think back to those good old resources that come back on a short rest before. And finally, daily powers, something you could use once per day. The best example for 5e is Mystic Arcanum. Taking a short rest is really easy in 4th edition, and it's basically expected that you take one after every encounter. They only last about 5 minutes. Encounter powers, you basically had every encounter, hence the name. Let's consider a warlock actually. They're a pretty good example here. Wait, no, not you. You suck. You're an abomination. Go away. There we go, that's the correct warlock. That's good. If you are able to take a short rest after every encounter, the Warlock would basically have full strength in every encounter. Once they get Mystic Arcanum, this changes a bit. In 4e, daily powers were usually very close in power to encounter powers. So using your big daily power is not even close to missing your Mystic Arcanum in 5e. So a fight will neither be trivial nor impossible due to you having or lacking your daily powers. So imagine this, a character that is almost equally strong in encounter number 1 as in encounter number 5. Obviously, this would not feel good in play if we implemented this for something like a 5e wizard by giving them back all spell slots after every fight. They would have to be dialed back by a ton, but just imagine. You would no longer need to worry about having to create long adventuring days. One random encounter day travel would not feel bad. Players can take long rest in the middle of the dungeon, and that doesn't make the DM sad. But Kobold, doesn't that make an adventuring day last forever? Well, there's definitely a limit. They had a hit dice-esque system to narratively constrain the adventuring day and somehow punish bad play. Here's some more 4e history lessons. Instead of hit dice, there were healing surges. One healing surge healed a quarter of your maximum hit points. Healing effects, take something like Healing Word, would in 4e require the target to spend a healing surge to be healed. This means healing is significant because it's at least a quarter of your hit points. And it means you don't have infinite healing to trivialize the adventuring day because surges are limited. The big thing is, a fight doesn't require you to be drained of healing surges to be difficult. Any encounter during the day can be difficult in theory. So what am I trying to say in this video? One D&D should not shy away from having short rests be a big deal. I think they should embrace it, in fact. The current way 5e works, the adventuring day concept sets an unreasonable minimum amount of content needed for the game to be challenging. I think that's really bad for the game. So Wizards of the Coast, consider looking at 4e at some point for your inspiration. And maybe nerf ridiculously powerful spells while you're at it. 4th edition has a lot of good ideas. End of video. Remember to check out Only Crits. Go buy some dice. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.